How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Sam. Today we're talking about Aaron Hicks and his disdain for the lack of playing time he has experienced over the first 3 games of the season. Now, the only time he actually got up to bat was late in the game. They wanted to get a lefty in there, and he struck out. So, Aaron Hicks has certainly been kind of dropped, and he's kind of being overlooked. Manager Aaron Boone did say that Aaron Hicks would be getting some reps to open the next couple of games, so we'll see how they kind of get him incorporated, but it seems like the youth agenda, the youth movement is certainly in flux. You're seeing Oswaldo Cabrera get the starting left field job, kind of locked up right now, had 2 singles yesterday. Not showing a ton of power, but he's certainly getting on base and making some decent contact at times, and made a really nice catch in the sun yesterday that Aaron Hicks dropped to several of those in spring training. So right now we're kind of looking at this sequence and asking ourselves, why is Aaron Hicks kind of making these quotes, and we'll read them to you, acting as if he deserves opportunities, acting as if he didn't just come off 2 awful seasons. Oswaldo Cabrera struck out 4 times in the debut, right, in the opening day game. But the reality is that we gave Aaron Hicks 2 years to get back on track. There is no way in hell that manager Aaron Boone should be changing anything or taking Oswaldo Cabrera out of the lineup for any given reason. He's earned the right to be there. He's earned the right to showcase that potential and hopefully extrapolate on his strengths and showcase what he can do at this next level over a much larger sample size, because we know what Aaron Hicks is. Aaron Hicks is a below-average offensive player at this point in time, at least based on the last couple seasons, and he's a decent defender, right? But this spring, he did not look like a decent defender, and he just didn't show that energy. Oswaldo has that energy. He's got that kind of Energizer Bunny level of confidence, and he makes everybody around him better, where Hicks just kind of holds his head, doesn't really say much, doesn't really crack a smile, doesn't show any of that gusto, and, we miss that, and we need that in the lineup. We need that on the defensive side, so I'm really happy that we've been giving these younger guys opportunities, but we're going to read you these quotes from Hicks, and they're pretty outlandish in my opinion. I think it really showcases the difference between him and IKF and why IKF got that start yesterday in center field compared to Hicks, who has been sitting on the bench just warming up a seat. So it's kind of interesting, Sam. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on these before we do so. How you do today, my friend?
I'm good, man. It's great to be here. Happy Monday. We got Yankees baseball tonight. Yankees playing the Phillies. I'm super excited. We got a series win this weekend, but didn't see too much Aaron Hicks. And honestly, I like what you said about the youth movement thing, because I think that Aaron Hicks not playing is because of the youth movement thing. Obviously, we saw IKF in center field, which I never thought that we would see coming into spring training. We were never, ever going to see that in the 3rd game of the season. But what you said about the effort thing, when he has these blunders and these weird times where he makes these really weird plays in the outfield, you don't see the effort. You don't see him wanting to go get the ball. He literally just doesn't care half the time. And at this point, we need this energetic type of force from this team that we're getting from the kids, like you mentioned with Oswaldo Cabrera. And it's interesting because, like I said, we would never see IKF play center field ever. He's a guy that's going to play shortstop, second base, third base. They want to platoon him out there in the outfield, which we think is super weird. But to play him over Aaron Hicks, who you're paying, $15 million a year, or whatever the number is, I don't even know what it is, says something about what you think about this team. Because IKF will at least go out there every single day, and he will give you energy. He will do whatever is needed to be on this team. We all know he's not great. We don't like IKF. We don't love him being on this team. But at least he cares. Aaron Hicks, half the time, it seems like he does not even care about playing baseball. It seems like he just wants to collect a paycheck and move on with his life. Now, with these comments, what he said he wants to play every day and that kind of stuff, I would be okay with that if you pushed out some kind of effort that you want to be with this team, and just really just put in an effort to help this team win a World Series. But Alex, I'm going to be honest, dude, I just don't think it's there right now. I don't think it's here with Aaron Hicks. I mean, we saw the passion, the aggression a couple years ago with Hicks, but like you mentioned, the last 2 years have been absolutely dreadful. And I just don't think there isn't a chance for us to give him at this point. I don't think he's worth it right now. Not at all.
No, and I agree with you 100%. So let me read you the quote here from The Athletic, and ultimately he goes, I have no idea what my role is. It's kind of uncertain. And, if he doesn't know what his role is, the Yankees are still trying to figure out what his role is. And he goes, I just want to play. I don't want to come off the bench and face closers all day. I want to play the field. I want to play every day. And it's just what I want to do. I want to start. I really don't know what else to say. How many times did he say I in that entire sequence? He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times he said the word I. what does that tell you? It tells you he's only thinking about himself. He's not thinking about how he can help this team. IKF lost the shortstop battle outright, went to Aaron Boone and said, hey, give me some opportunities in the outfield. I want to show what I can do. I want to be on this team. I want to win with the Yankees. I want to help, make this club better. The I's are a lot different in context, right? You're looking at I want to help the team instead of I want everyday reps. I want to be out there. I want to be, in the field. What have you done to deserve it? There's a difference between wanting something and deserving something. Aaron Hicks has done neither. Like, he doesn't, it blows my mind that he thinks he's entitled to something. And because of that really lofty price tag, the Yankees have had to make some tough decisions in terms of benching him to begin with. Looks like he's going to get some opportunities now, but the difference between IKF and who, for what it's worth, I'm not the biggest fan of in terms of the quality, like what he's capable of doing. We saw yesterday, he makes contact, but they were slow contact. It was like dribblers or like little pop-ups to the infield. Like, it's not like he's doing much. So like, that's unfortunate, but at the same time, at the very least, he's trying to do everything he can, and he's putting in the effort, and he's doing whatever it takes to be a part of this team, and I can respect that. I can say that, like, without any objectiveness, like, that is a respectful thing to do, and I think that, we should be giving him the credit for doing that and saying the right things. Hicks it just sounds like it's all about him. It's all about what he wants. It's all about what he thinks he deserves. And the reality is the guy hit, 210, 215 last year, or 220 with a, 33% on base rate and 8 homers over 130 games. This is a player that hasn't been good since 2019. You know what I mean? Like, what exactly has he done to say and to show that he should be an everyday outfielder at this point in time? When Harrison Bader gets back, he's going to get freaking buried behind everybody else. Bader's going to be in center field. Stanton, if he's playing the outfield, he's going to be in right. You obviously have Oswaldo Cabrera in left field. There's going to be a lot of players ahead of him. This is turning into a situation where, like, if he gets those everyday reps, right? If Aaron Boone starts him over the next couple days and he struggles a lot, what else does he want from us? You know what I mean? Like, what else does he want if he's not going to be hitting, if he's not going to be producing, and he says he wants all these things? Like, it just doesn't add up. Like, the team mentality is not there. IKF is certainly showing more of that, and I think that is a perspective that stood out to me, and the difference between the two in terms of their mindset. So, hearing those quotes, hearing that it's all about me, it's all about I want these things, but I don't deserve them. How does that make you feel about where his head's at?
It's completely different when we're talking about a guy like IKF compared to Aaron Hicks. IKF straight up lost the shortstop battle outright, and we all knew it was going to happen. Obviously, we were kind of sitting here saying, like, oh, they're going to run with IKF again. They're not going to play the kids, yada, yada, yada. But IKF lost the job, took his role, and did whatever it took to be on this team and play with this team and whatever. And like you said, we don't really love IKF as a player, but for him to show this kind of effort, I think is absolutely incredible, and it's all respect to the world in him for it, because I think that's awesome. But with the Aaron Hicks thing, I'm going to take you back to one of the oldest sayings in sports. There is no I in team. You got Aaron Hicks with those 8 eyes in there. I don't think he cares about helping this team win. I think he wants to get his numbers. But granted, I don't know how great those numbers are even going to be, because he hasn't been great for a very long time with this Yankees roster. So, and like you mentioned with Harrison Bader, what's going to happen to Aaron Hicks once Harrison Bader comes back? Because one of the outfield spots is going to get lost. So I don't think once Bader gets back, there isn't really going to be a space for him on this team at all. And right now, I think it would be best for him to just kind of accept what's going on around him and just be like, yeah, like, I'm here if you guys want to give me at-bats, if you want me to go in as a defensive replacement late in the game, whatever, and try to earn his role back that way. And if he plays well, then you play him in the field every day, and it is what it is, right? But right now, the last thing that you need to do as a player is go out there and be incredibly selfish about your role, because it's not what's right for the team whatsoever. So it's really disappointing for Aaron Hicks, just because, and I'm not an Aaron Hicks fan by any means, and I don't think any of us are at this point, because this is just incredibly selfish, and it doesn't make a ton of sense from a player who's, been here with some of the better rosters of the later 2010s. When we went to the ALCS a couple times, like, he was a big factor in those teams. And right now, I just think the entire fan base is completely turned against this guy, not because of how poor his play has been over the past few years, but because of these comments like this. It's just incredibly selfish, and it's disappointing for a player who, they signed up to a 7-year extension and who they had playing every single day, and just straight up disappointed. And it's a terrible look on the team right now. Not even on the team, it's really on him. It's awful. Downright. It is awful. It makes me feel terrible for the team,
Yeah, no, 100%. And here's a question for you. So, when you're looking at the different directions the Yankees can go right now, once Bader returns, you obviously have a little bit of a logjam in the outfield. Now, a lot of people have, floated the concept of trading IKF, offloading the $6 million. Is there a world, where the Yankees just DFA Aaron Hicks and just keep IKF and make him their utility outfielder, their depth outfielder, or they just keep both on the roster? Because right now, just based on the perspectives and the perceptions that both of these players have, and the way that kind of Aaron Hicks is going about trying to justify his worth and justify the fact that he should be getting everyday reps, he doesn't seem like much of a team player. It seems like he's just kind of out of it. It doesn't feel like he's really on the team. You know what I mean? It feels like he's on it by himself and he's kind of just doing his thing. And that's not what we need. We need people who are committed. You watch Bader, he cares, man. You watch Judge, the guy does everything right. Stanton, 2 homers in 3 games. One of them could have freaking hit Mars. This is definitely a team that has a lot of players that are really putting in the effort, putting in that amount of respect for the organization. And Hicks doesn't seem to mirror that. He doesn't seem to have it anymore. And I think that a little bit of confidence would probably go a long way for him. In terms of if he was to get hot when he does get some opportunities here, I think maybe that would change. But it's a long shot. You know what I mean? He came up to bat against a closer, struck out, and, it wasn't necessarily his fault. I think one of them was a low strike. So, it sucks, but the Yankees did have a couple men on base, and Stanton hits into the double play on Tuesday. Or rather, sorry, on Friday? So that kind of... Saturday. Yeah, so that was kind of unfortunate. I'm getting all my days mixed up, man. They're all the same. But... do you think there's a world where maybe Hicks is a candidate to be DFA'd and then, IKF turns into this everyday kind of supplemental depth outfielder? Or do you think, maybe they'll just keep both and ride with both throughout the regular season?
No, I think it's entirely possible. I think it is completely impossible because you have to factor in at this point that IKF now playing the outfield, we're talking him as an outfield guy. He can play infield as well. So we have a numerous amount of, utility guys who can play in a bunch of different spots. And right now with the comments that Aaron Hicks is making and his attitude and compare him to IKF, I don't think it's a bad idea at all. Plus, IKF gives you the speed on the base pass. It's just another factor of his game that Aaron Hicks doesn't necessarily have. And I really do think I think it really comes down to the effort. And if Hicks stays around and has this kind of attitude, that could be bad for a locker room because you could end up having that entire locker room shift against this guy, and that is not what you want at all. So for IKF to be a guy who really wants to be here every day and wants to play and wants to help this team win a World Series, I 100% think that that's a realistic possibility. With the money, it kind of gets a little shaky. But who knows? And at the end of the day, I think it would be the proper decision to end up DFAing Aaron Hicks over IKF just because he's probably more versatile and can fill more spots for you. But, it would be weird if they kept both on the roster. I don't want them to keep both on the roster per se, and they could rock with both for the rest of the season, and we'll see how that shakes out. But I do think that it would be a smart decision to end up, DFAing Aaron Hicks over IKF just because I think IKF brings more, and I think his attitude is way better. I think he would be way better for this ball club than Aaron Hicks is right now.
Absolutely. So here's we'll kind of cover one last little segment here in terms of the outfield alignment when Harrison Bader does come back. Assuming that Stanton is just DHing most days, you're really looking at, because the thing is, if Stanton's DHing, either Glaber or DJ LeMahieu aren't playing, right? Conceivably so, or they're giving Donaldson a day off and DJ's playing third and Glaber's playing second, or they're giving Volpe a day off and I don't know, IKF's playing short or somebody's playing short. That's really the only way they can go about this. I feel like we have enough depth that they can find ways to construct different alignments. But once the outfield is fully healthy, I imagine you're looking at a Judge in right, Harrison Bader in center, and then an Oswaldo Cabrera in left alignment. And then, why do you need Hicks, right? Why do you need Hicks or IKF for that matter? Because Stanton's going to be your first choice depth, guy that comes in and plays a maybe 2 days a week he's playing in the outfield, right? 2 days a week he's playing in the outfield, and that way you can give some guys rest. Oswaldo Cabrera can move up into the infield, whatever it might be. You have a lot of moving pieces here. This lineup is going to change a lot this season. I don't think that we're going to see many days that have the exact same lineup because there's too many mouths to feed, right? Which could be a bad thing. Do you think that changing this lineup consistently all the time could lead to lack of consistency for some players and maybe hurt them in terms of developing hot streaks or whatever it might be? Or do you think this is more of a good thing so that you can mitigate fatigue and you can make sure that they are healthy for the full 162-game season?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing just because, in the past couple of seasons, we've seen the type of injuries that this team has dealt with. Last year, this team was absolutely rolling, and then you lose DJ LeMahieu and Giancarlo Stanton for a majority of that month, and then this team just went absolutely flat. With the infield thing with Glaber and DJ LeMahieu and Josh Donaldson, you could set it up where you're playing those guys 2 out of every 3 days. Like each of those guys gets 2 days, out of the 3-game series, whatever. Whoever's going to play second base or third base or DH and figure it out, and it is what it is. At this point, I think it's good to have this kind of depth because we can get our guys this type of rest and that nobody's going to end up getting hurt, because I think that is what the front office is probably scared of right now, is ending up with the injury bug like they seemingly do every single year. So I personally think it's a good thing. It's going to be really interesting to see how this lineup fluctuates. But again, this is a lineup that changes drastically every single year, I feel like, with the injuries, with these kind of issues that end up, coming up eventually. But I think it's a good thing, man. I think the depth is really going to help this season. I hope they're able to stay healthy that way. And I think it's an advantage for the Yankees just because they can keep everybody on the field at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's a very reasonable take. But guys, I'd love to hear your perspectives below on this Aaron Hicks kind of situation, what he said, the comments. They didn't really rub me the right way. I kind of feel like they were a lot more selfish than I would have hoped for. That's kind of a conversation that he has to have in private with Aaron Boone. And voicing his public displeasure does not help him, right? It does not put him in a spot where the Yankees are like, oh, yeah, he says he wants more playing time. We're going to get him more playing time. In fact, it probably does the opposite. They're like, wow, he really doesn't give a shit about this team. Like, he doesn't really care about the team. He doesn't care about winning, doing whatever it takes, and fighting for his job again. He just wants to be playing because he thinks he deserves it. And ultimately, Oswaldo Cabrera is the one that deserves it. Certainly not him. Judge and Stanton have looked phenomenal the last couple days, so obviously there's no way they're being moved. Bader, the second he comes back, is one of the best center fielders in baseball defensively. And offensively, we saw we could do over a 9-game sample size with 5 homers in the postseason. So he's immediately starting the second he comes back. And then left field, you roll with the youngster because we know what Hicks is. Hicks has not been his best self since 2018, 2019. And Oswaldo Cabrera is just scratching the surface of his potential. You got to roll with potential at this point in time. You can't keep running out guys who are just, you're hoping to God pan out because they're on a big contract and you thought they were great a couple of years ago. It's time to commit to youth, and that's something that I have noticed this season. The Yankees are doing a lot more of that. Anthony Volpe at shortstop, Cabrera in left field, Johnny Brito yesterday having a dominant performance in his first major league game. So you love to see the Yankees kind of going with their youth agenda and committing to it and showing confidence in these youngsters, and they're answering the call, and that's exactly what we wanted to see. And hopefully, Oswald Peraza can fight his way up at some point and make an impact on this team when there is a little bit more of an opportunity for him to get consistent reps. But guys, love to hear your perspectives as always below in the YouTube comments. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we got some more stuff coming out later today. The lineup reaction, pregame analysis against the Philadelphia Phillies, who have given up a lot of runs over the last 3 games. So we're excited to kind of break that down for you guys. Then we'll have the postgame show as well. So appreciate everybody. Make sure to follow us on all of our platforms. TikTok, that Sam is kicking ass on. We got Twitter, that's blowing up. We got Instagram, Facebook, obviously YouTube, and make sure to hit that notification button so you don't miss an episode and you're here with us every single step of the way. So enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the game tonight, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.